The golden age of Hollywood projected a flawless illusion of romance, strength, and perfection. Yet beneath the heavy studio makeup and blinding spotlights, some of cinema's most iconic legends were fighting agonizing, fatal battles for their lives. To protect their careers and deep personal secrets in a ruthlessly intolerant industry, these stars endured extreme physical suffering in total silence while cameras rolled. Today, we peel back the polished veneer of Tinseltown to reveal the heartbreaking, heroic true stories of 10 iconic actors who hid terrible illnesses while filming. 1. Rock Hudson. He was the ultimate archetype of American masculinity, a towering screen god whose deep voice and effortless charm defined Hollywood romance. But as the cameras rolled on his final performances, a devastating, secret terminal diagnosis threatened to shatter the pristine illusion he spent decades building. Born Roy Harold Scherer Jr. in 1925, Rock Hudson rose to prominence as Hollywood's premier romantic leading man. From his Oscar-nominated turn in Giant to his beloved romantic comedies with Doris Day, Hudson projected an image of robust health and heterosexual vitality. Behind the scenes, however, he lived as a closeted gay man in an era where exposure meant total career annihilation. In 1984, while filming a recurring role on the blockbuster primetime soap opera Dynasty, Hudson harbored a terrifying secret. He had been diagnosed with AIDS. As the virus ravaged his body, the physical deterioration became increasingly difficult to hide. He suffered from profound weight loss and a gaunt appearance, forcing the crew to adjust lighting and makeup. Hudson began struggling to memorize his dialogue, requiring the discreet use of cue cards on set, and his speech grew visibly slurred. The strain peaked during a heavily publicized on-screen kiss with co-star Linda Evans. Knowing his diagnosis but bound by intense industry secrecy and fear, Hudson went through with the scene, later obsessively using medical mouthwash out of a mistaken fear of transmitting the virus. He collapsed shortly after in Paris and passed away in October 1985. His forced bravery ultimately changed the public discourse surrounding HIV/AIDS forever. 2. Anthony Perkins. Immortalized as cinema's most chillingly complex villain, this brilliant performer mastered the art of hiding in plain sight. Yet while filming his final suspenseful mysteries, he was secretly evading a real-world terror far more frightening than any Hollywood horror script. Born in New York City in 1932, Anthony Perkins achieved permanent cinematic immortality as the deeply troubled Norman Bates in Alfred Hitchcock's 1960 masterpiece, Psycho. Gifted with an intense, lanky energy and deep emotional nuance, Perkins spent decades balancing mainstream Hollywood success with a deeply guarded private life as a bisexual, and later gay, man in a fiercely judgmental industry. In 1990, while preparing for and filming the television thriller In the Deep Woods, Perkins learned a shocking truth from a tabloid leak. He had tested positive for HIV. Determined to keep his diagnosis private, to ensure he could continue working and support his family, Perkins chose to suffer in absolute isolation on set. He pushed through crushing fatigue, night sweats, and a failing immune system, masking his exhaustion with extreme professional discipline. On the set of In the Deep Woods, he delivered a characteristically taut, professional performance, never allowing his physical pain or mental anguish to compromise the shoot. Perkins successfully hid his condition from directors, crew members, and the public until his death from AIDS-related complications in September 1992, just a month before the film aired. 3. Montgomery Clift. With striking, sculpted features and raw emotional vulnerability, he revolutionized American screen acting alongside the greatest legends of his era. But behind his intense cinematic close-ups lay an agonizing web of chronic physical trauma and hidden medical dependency. Montgomery Clift, born in Nebraska in 1920, was a pioneering force in Hollywood, introducing a sensitive, brooding method acting style that earned him 4 Academy Award nominations. Clift was intensely private about his homosexuality, a secret he guarded fiercely alongside a far more visible tragedy. In 1956, during the filming of Raintree County, a catastrophic car accident shattered his jaw and severed facial nerves. Though plastic surgery saved his face, Clift was left in constant, agonizing physical pain for the rest of his life. While filming subsequent movies like The Young Lions and Judgment at Nuremberg, Clift secretly battled severe chronic pain, extreme intestinal issues, and a worsening reliance on painkillers and alcohol to survive the grueling production schedules. On set, he suffered from trembling hands, slurred line delivery, and sudden physical collapses, which directors frequently had to shoot around or attribute to erratic artistic temperament. During John Huston's Freud, Clift's health decayed so rapidly that his failing eyesight and memory forced him to rely on hidden blackboards for his lines. He pushed his broken body to the absolute limit for his art until heart failure took him in 1966. 4. Raymond Burr. He dominated mid-century television as the ultimate embodiment of unwavering American justice, commanding courtroom sets with unmatched authority. Yet beneath his imposing judicial robe, he was quietly enduring a brutal, hidden physical deterioration that threatened to halt production permanently. Born in British Columbia in 1917, Raymond Burr became an international television icon through his legendary, commanding portrayals in Perry Mason and Ironside. To survive in the Golden Age studio system as a gay man, Burr manufactured an elaborate heterosexual backstory, inventing tragic, fictional wives and a son to appease inquisitive studio executives and gossip columnists. In his later years, while enthusiastically reprising his career-defining role for a highly successful series of Perry Mason television movies, Burr was diagnosed with aggressive, terminal kidney cancer. Terrified that the studio would halt production or cancel the lucrative television movies if his terminal status were discovered, Burr chose to conceal the diagnosis entirely from the cast and crew. He endured agonizing internal pain, severe nausea, and profound physical weakness while filming on location. Burr routinely arrived early to mask his mobility issues, relying on clever camera framing and static staging to hide his inability to walk comfortably. He filmed his final courtroom scenes through sheer force of will, passing away in September 1993, mere months after his final performance wrapped. 5. Brad Davis. After rocketing to worldwide fame with an intense, raw, and physically demanding breakout performance, this bold young actor seemed destined for superstardom, but a secret, highly stigmatized medical diagnosis forced him into a shadowy world of underground treatments and quiet on-set endurance. Brad Davis, born in Florida in 1949, achieved instant international acclaim for his raw, electrifying, and intensely physical performance in the 1978 Oscar-winning masterpiece, Midnight Express. As a bisexual man operating in a changing but still deeply homophobic Hollywood landscape, Davis faced an even greater crisis when he was diagnosed with HIV in 1985, at the absolute height of the global panic. Knowing that an open diagnosis would result in being blacklisted and denied standard production insurance, Davis kept his illness a total secret from the industry for 6 years. While filming various television films and independent features, including Rosalie Goes Shopping, Davis battled debilitating physical symptoms and intense fatigue. To receive medical treatment without alerting studio bosses, he checked into hospitals under false names and underwent painful therapies late at night after production wrapped. On set, he maintained an energetic, professional demeanor, hiding his physical decline behind a mask of intense concentration. Davis successfully worked up until his final weeks, committing assisted suicide in 1991 to escape the final agonizing stages of the disease. 6. Robert Reed. As America's favorite television father, he came to symbolize the ultimate picture-perfect image of wholesome mid-century family stability. But away from the comforting living room set, he was secretly fighting a tragic, lonely battle against an unforgiving, hidden terminal illness. Born in Illinois in 1932, Robert Reed achieved enduring television immortality as the warm, wise patriarch Mike Brady on the beloved classic sitcom, The Brady Bunch. Reed was a classically trained dramatic actor who frequently clashed with producers over the show's writing, but he guarded his personal life far more intensely, keeping his homosexuality entirely hidden from the public to protect the wholesome show. In the late 1980s and early 1990s, while continuing to work steadily in television guest spots and regional theater productions, Reed was diagnosed with HIV. He chose to hide his condition from his coworkers, family, and the entertainment industry, deeply fearing the intense public stigma and the potential destruction of his beloved television legacy. While filming his final television appearances, Reed silently battled severe fatigue and a progressively collapsing immune system. He masked his physical weakness with his signature upright posture and professional charm, never missing a cue or complaining about grueling schedules. Reed was eventually diagnosed with terminal colon cancer, but when he passed away in May 1992, His death certificate revealed that his passing was significantly accelerated by complications from HIV. 7. Charles Laughton. A theatrical genius possessed of unmatched dramatic power, this legendary performer commanded cinema screens with his larger-than-life presence. Yet, during his magnificent final cinematic triumph, he was secretly weathering a brutal, agonizing internal siege that threatened to silence him forever. Born in England in 1899, Charles Laughton was one of the most brilliant and respected character actors in cinematic history, winning an Academy Award for The Private Life of Henry V's. Laughton was a closeted gay man who lived in a lifelong Lavender marriage with actress Elsa Lanchester, tormented by societal expectations and his own deep insecurities regarding his unconventional physical appearance. In 1961, while filming his final movie, the political drama Advise and Consent, Laughton began experiencing severe, unyielding back pain that made standing nearly impossible. Medical examinations revealed he was suffering from aggressive, metastatic bone cancer that was rapidly spreading throughout his spine. Determined to complete his performance as a shrewd Southern senator, Laughton kept the grim diagnosis completely hidden from the director and the studio. He endured excruciating physical pain on the set, using heavy corsets and hidden braces to keep his spine erect during long takes. Laughton collapsed immediately after the film wrapped production and died in December 1962, leaving behind a flawless final performance that gave no hint of the terrible physical agony he endured. 8. Liberace. He was the dazzling sultan of stage extravagance, a showman whose blinding jewels, furs, and pianos defined American showmanship. But beneath the sparkling candelabras and flamboyant smiles lay a tightly guarded, agonizing medical secret that he denied until his very last breath. Born Vladio Valentino Liberace in Wisconsin in 1919, Mr. Showmanship became the highest-paid entertainer in the world, famous for his dazzling piano playing, extravagant costumes, and flamboyant stage persona. Despite his obvious camp appeal, Liberace fiercely hid his homosexuality from his adoring public, famously suing newspapers that dared to hint at his private preferences. In the mid-1980s, while maintaining a grueling schedule of spectacular live performances and television specials, Liberace contracted HIV. Terrified of alienating his conservative fan base and losing his lucrative contracts, he swore his inner circle to absolute secrecy and refused to acknowledge the illness. While filming his final televised concert specials and public appearances, Liberace was suffering from profound weight loss, severe anemia, and constant exhaustion. He hid his wasting body beneath increasingly heavy, elaborate fur coats and used thick stage makeup to cover his pale skin. He pushed through spectacular, physically demanding piano numbers through pure adrenaline, maintaining his grinning, energetic persona while privately collapsing backstage. He passed away from AIDS-related cytomegalovirus pneumonia in February 1987, denying the disease until the end. 9. Dick Sargent. Stepping into one of television's most famous sitcom households, this dependable actor brought charm and stability to millions of homes weekly. Yet beneath the lighthearted, magical sitcom comedy lay a deeply stressful secret life and a severe, hidden battle with physical pain. Born Richard Stanford Cox in California in 1930, Dick Sargent achieved enduring fame when he took over the iconic role of Darren Stevens on the hit supernatural sitcom Bewitched. Sargent was a deeply closeted gay man during the peak of his television fame, a secret he maintained with great difficulty under the intense scrutiny of the studio system. Years later, while working on various television projects and independent films, Sargent was diagnosed with aggressive prostate cancer. Fearing that his diagnosis would make him uninsurable and effectively end his active acting career, Sargent kept the severity of his illness entirely hidden from his directors and cast members. He endured painful radiation treatments, severe nausea, and profound physical exhaustion between shoots, never letting his suffering disrupt production timelines. On set, he maintained his trademark cheerful demeanor and impeccable comedic timing, hiding his immense physical discomfort behind a professional smile. Sargent survived the battle long enough to publicly come out as gay in 1991, dedicating his final years to AIDS activism before the hidden cancer finally claimed his life in 1994. 10. Amanda Blake. For nearly 2 decades, she ruled television's Wild West as a fierce, independent icon of American television drama. But her final days on camera were marked by a devastating, highly stigmatized secret illness that she carried in absolute silence. Born Beverly Louise Neal in New York in 1929, Amanda Blake became an American institution by portraying the sharp-witted, fiercely independent saloon keeper, Miss Kitty Russell, on the legendary Western series Gunsmoke. Blake, who was bisexual and moved in progressive social circles, faced a terrifying personal crisis in the mid-1980s. She contracted HIV, likely from her fifth husband, who died of AIDS-related complications in 1985. In 1987, Blake agreed to reprise her famous role for the television movie Gunsmoke, Return to Dodge. At the time of filming, she was battling severe progressive symptoms of the virus. Terrified of the massive social stigma and potential cancellation of the film, Blake kept her illness an absolute secret from the production crew. She suffered from debilitating fatigue and severe immune suppression while working on the dusty, physically demanding Western sets. Blake used heavy costuming and masterful screen presence to mask her physical decline, delivering a powerful performance. She passed away in August 1989 from AIDS-related hepatitis, a secret her doctor finally revealed to the public after her death. The tragic stories of these 10 legendary performers remind us of the immense personal sacrifices demanded by early Hollywood. Their enduring art remains a testament to their profound strength. If you enjoyed uncovering the hidden stories behind Hollywood's greatest legends, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our next deep dive into the secrets, scandals, and untold history of classic cinema. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.